Albert Einstein once said, "Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute." Exclamation points. I don't think that's one of the more famous ones. Mario weighs 6 kilograms. I wonder how much that is. As an American, I don't know how the metric system works. But it just means he's kind of light, I guess. That's like 12 pounds, 15 pounds or something. Because a kilo is like, what, 1.3-ish pounds, I think? I don't need to know communist units. Go. Anyway, so far, another level interpreting light as gravity. I like this plan. This is actually pretty decent so far. Very different from one of those famous ones. Just thinking of Taskmaster in one of the tasks they were told. Oh, right, the Albert Einstein quote. Anyway, in one of the Taskmaster things, they were told to choose 3 items to help them in a future task. And one of the ladies picked a taxidermy, not a teddy, a taxidermy, you know, something that was alive, some markers, and a bunch of potatoes. And it turns out that this was not a very useful set of items for the task, since what was required was completely cover one item with another item, throw one item over the caravan, and then place that covered item on a barrel a few feet away. And it turns out that markers don't cover up potatoes very well, or vice versa. And for whatever silly reason, she decided... I can't get that. Oh, I didn't even see that. She decided to throw the taxidermied bird over the caravan first. Whereas covering the bird with the potatoes might have been a lot easier. But Fern wasn't known for good decisions in Taskmaster, by any measure. But I like the line where she's like, "Should I know these potatoes?" She was also known for going, "Oh no!" at basically every task. Very floating jumps. Oh, he did say it. Put your hand on hot stove for a minute. Seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour. It seems like a minute. That's relativity. Huh. Did going "oh no" work? I don't think it did. It was funny, though. No, the guy who did the best at that particular task, the pick 3 items and use them later, was Dara, which, no surprises, since he just rocked that season. He knew what he was about. For that task, he asked for a man. So you want a rented man? Yeah, rented man. What kind of man? Nice. And what else? 2 pints of cider. Just like good Irish cider. Like, okay. One for me and one for him. And, yeah, it worked great. He threw 1 pint of cider right over the caravan. Had the rented man hide the other one inside of his coveralls, or boiler suit. Oops. I wonder what the song is. I got it! Yeah, that took a long time and didn't make a lot of sense, I don't think. Is that one of those autocomplete ones? Ah. I should have spun jumped. Yes, those were indeed TTS words. It happens. It's the nature of TTS on Twitch. Most of them don't make that much sense. I'm just happy to get the mushroom. Oh, whoops. Guess I didn't get the mushroom. I guessed as much. Yep, that sure worked automatically. I'm not sure I needed to do that, though. At least not the way it was intended. I see. I think you can actually button slide kill those. Nice thing about having Mario be so floaty is I'm not as worried about certain things. Ah, okay. These are red ones. There's not much I can do if I mess that up. Okay, well so far so good. I like those turn into cherries. Why did I jump up? The statues? No, I meant the thing. Animal Crossing TTS. Yeah, it's Hatsune Miku. I have a copy of Vocaloid 2, I think, and some absolutely ridiculous ancient-ass plumbing to connect it up to Twitch. Like, this was a thing for people who were streaming on Nico Video, and I managed to rig it up to work well enough with the rest of my system, though it took some doing. And that's one of the reasons she's so bad at English, is because it's ancient Vocaloid, not modern Vocaloid. I use some transliteration to kind of katakana-ize whatever English is thrown at her, with more or less success, and sometimes she just drops the last word for some reason, I don't know why. But it's fine. Oh boy. It also takes real time for her to say it out loud before it actually procs, so that's one of the reasons it's not immediate. So close to the end. Yeah, I don't know if I was close to the end. Oh, is this what this is? You literally took this and translated it? I really should use the cancel button more liberally. See, so some of it just cuts off at the end. I don't know why. Let's see if I can... Nope. I should be able to respawn my red friend there. This is the first opening? Really? Huh. Ugh. Anyway, the original reason I implemented that is I was playing for April Fool's Day 2021, the Neptunia spin-off that had all the VTubers in it. And yeah, I felt like having a appropriately virtual idol-esque TTS was the way to go. And it took some doing, and that original version did not work very well. In part because I was running it inside of a virtual machine. Now I've got it fixed up, so it works a lot better, and it's not running in a virtual machine, and it's using a legitimate copy of Vocaloid 2, which I bought for like $100 dues, and came from Japan. And I'm not sure if in the event that I need to reinstall it on a new machine, I can, because I think I might have like lost some of the important bits. It's a serious piece of serious software, which means it's way easier to pirate than it is to actually, you know, install and buy yourself. Of course, the Vocaloid company would prefer you to buy a more modern version, but, you know, you want that crispy sound, you gotta make some sacrifices somewhere. What's funny is I've got it rigged up so it'll actually work even if I'm traveling and streaming from, like, DC. It just takes a little bit of doing. There is also another TTS that's still sitting there rigged up from when I played Broken Reality. Sort of a vaporwave aesthetic game, and I was using a very old TTS. The one that powered the Intellivision voice module. An emulated version, because the hardware version of that would be insane to actually rig up to Twitch, but you know, it's the thought that counts. It also sounded like complete and abject garbage. But it's still sitting there rigged up in the event that I want to use it again, so... Okay, this time I'm not going to panic. Just wait for it. Nope, I didn't wait for it. Words, words, words. Still remains one of my favorite of the, like, silly meta puzzles. For one of the years, the MIT Mystery Hunt, it had a Mega Man themed round, and each of the different Robot Masters had a smaller meta, in addition to the Wily meta. And Stagecraft Man. Each of the answers from the puzzles in his round was a specific Shakespeare character that had, like, one line. And if you took the words that were said, you eventually get, what do you read, my lord? Which line I think is from Macbeth. And his answer, of course, is words, words, words. But the answer to the puzzle, because it was placed into a form, was actually word sword. Which I think was cute. The end result for that meta was really cool, because what you had to do was use all of the meta answers and apply them as if they were weapons in a Mega Man game and figure out who's weak to what. We didn't solve one of them, but we did figure out what it was supposed to be and made some good guesses. We thought it was Debaser, but what it was like DNA Destroyer, which just meant you took out all of the G's, A's, and C's or something. I paid attention to how much our voice changed. Well, I mean, the technology improved substantially from, like, the early 2000s to now. So it's not a surprise that Hatsune Miku's voice has also changed. Not to mention, like, the original versions were made just for the Japanese audience, and you need far fewer phonemes to render Japanese, legible Japanese, than you do for English. Or at least you need different ones. I'm not sure about necessarily fewer. I think it's fewer. But I'd have to, like, look in the APL or whatever to determine how that works, and I don't want to. Anyway. Dang it. Yeah, it was still a cool round. Cool meta. Cool mystery hunt. Had one of my favorite collaborations of all time. Me and my bro sat down and solved this not really gigantic, but fairly large puzzle that was a multi-threaded scheme program. And you had to figure out how to get it to execute without any of the threads stomping on each other. Which is interesting. And they gave us enough clues how to make that actually work. Since there was only one way for it to execute without it actually breaking. And the answer was one of those, like, I can't believe this is an answer. It was like, who came in 12th in the sprint in, like, the 200 meter, no, it was like 400 meter, 800 meter? Yeah, I think it was 800 meter. Event in the Summer Olympics this year, of this particular year. And the answer was Mugatu Windamu, or some variety thereof. Mostly because his name starts and ends with the word mu. That particular round was all about sizes, and they needed an SI prefix for micro. So, mu it was. But it was the only one that had that property, because all the other SI prefixes aren't multiple letters. Admittedly, mu is typically represented in a singular Greek letter, but yeah, that wasn't gonna work for the puzzle. First reward? Oh, it absolutely was. Ah, crap. I feel like I can salvage this. That didn't work. I mean, a lot of mystery hunt puzzles are like that sometimes. My personal favorite in terms of someone put a lot of work into this, and it really didn't pay off, but they had a lot of fun, mystery hunt puzzles, was the first year I ever did it. It was the it's the secret agent themed year, probably 2006. This is fine. And one of the relatively earlier round puzzles involved a long sequence of instructions to recreate a magic... Why does that... Let's see if we just do this. To recreate a Magic the Gathering game. And you had to do it based upon hints about what was played and just some descriptions of the cards. The only one I remember in there was the best fatty ever printed. And, like, it was a lot of cards. So we were one of the few teams to solve it. I didn't help. Even though it was long since no longer actually relevant for our meta purposes. But there were a couple of dudes who were just like, no, we love Magic, and we want to solve this. But the best part about that was that Richard Garrett, I think it is, one of the guys who invented Magic the Gathering, was actually in attendance at the Mystery Hunt. And his team did not opt to solve that one. Which, again, to be fair, like, we didn't need it. Like, that was an early round, and so, like, and there was no, like, back pressure to solve unsolved puzzles from earlier rounds. Sometimes there is some of that in mystery hunts, like, there's value in going and doing it. But that one I don't think had it. Well, I guess it technically did, but it didn't end up mattering. For some reason, I think they did an answer check on the final run around, but we didn't run into any problems. Garfield, thank you. I actually went to the Wizards the Gathering. The Wizards of the Coast building once to do a puzzle, to do a test for a puzzle thing. I don't really remember much. I did end up, I met another one of the Magic the Gathering guys. I don't remember which one though. Aside from, I know what he looks like, but that doesn't help me communicate who he is. And the only puzzle I remember was one where he was trying, like, the idea was it was a word search that involved food. And basically it turns out that you have to stretch the definition a bit. And he had to go find some, like, relatively obscure titles of media that had food in the title. And the only one I remember was I, Me, My, Strawberry Eggs, which I think is some sort of, like, shoujo anime thing. That's literally all I remember from that. Many, many years ago. Really liked doing tests. Haven't done any in a while. There used to be a mailing list for puzzle tests. I don't know if such a thing exists anymore. There's probably a Discord somewhere nowadays. I can tell you, it definitely isn't the same mailing list I used to be on, because that one was on Yahoo. I had a Yahoo account just for that particular groups thing. I am running out of time. I'm really bad at that obstacle. Anyway, other than that, mostly just been kind of hanging out and chilling since last Thursday. Did some pinballing. Put up a score I was mildly proud of, but mildly irritated about on X-Men the other day. A particular place has a scoreboard that's visible, and at least as last I checked, still have the high score for X-Men. It was a 375. And I was on a really good run. I was doing great. I got the extra ball. I was feeling like, oh man, I'm going to definitely make my score a lot bigger for this particular thing. I finished the game. I have literally scored 1 million more than my prior score. Was very unhappy with that. Like, it was nice to put up numbers. And ended up running into one of the guys I play pinball with sometimes. I'd seen him the day before, but didn't get a chance to talk or play with him. And it turns out the reason for that was he wasn't in much of a mood to talk to anybody because he had to go to the dentist. He's like, yeah, I went to the dentist. And you know, what pinball machine do you play after you go to the dentist? I'm like, duh, Jaws. It's like, yes, and John Wick. I guess John Wick loses teeth or something? I don't know. I don't actually know what relevance John Wick has there, but Jaws is the big, easy, and obvious one. Other than that, no real, no real good scores recently, but I did have some fun playing some random machines. Spent some time with Aerosmith and did not actually achieve what I set out to do. I don't love that machine. Mostly because the way it plunges out of the left side is just kind of awkward. I don't like pinball machines that have bumpers, like right on one of the shots you want to make, like right before it. Iron Maiden also has this property. I just don't love it. Like, when I'm trying to make a ramp shot, I want to be able to make the ramp shot without worrying that if I'm a little bit angularly off, I'm going to run into a bumper and basically just stand there looking like a fool for a minute. Speaking of... Did hang out with Fistbit yesterday. He was taking a patch in Messen, the new Messen branch, and apparently it was a fix that only affected Mega Man 2 X2. So he was like, I want to play Mega Man X2, so okay. Get it onto the flash cart and let him play it. I just need to go there. Stopping and hesitating is not doing anything for me. Yeah, it holds up. Still a fun little game. That worked. Okay. I got lucky there. I'm just gonna admit that right now. How much longer can this level be? That bodes really poorly, actually. They're giving a power-up at this point in time. Like, I think I need to go a lot faster if you'll give me 200 seconds for this. And also that I need all 200 seconds. Everyone loves a good long-ass gauntlet level. Well, at least we get this one now. It's a good time for it. Like, getting a nice hard level when you are kind of tired and done playing through levels or, like, doing judging is kind of a drag. Whereas here, like, this is the second one I came across, and the first one wasn't very long, so... Plus, I'm a little bit behind on the YouTube work for this LDC. Actually, the first VOD for this LDC went out this morning. Right after all the Baba Is You completed. So, Baba Is You is done. I just need to do the analysis I want to do on it now. I want to know what level takes the longest. So I'm going to hopefully get that calculation done in the near future. Though tomorrow I have a document to complete and taxes. I have to do taxes. Because tomorrow is tax day. A well-known, unfortunate day of the American calendar. Should have done them earlier, but sometimes you're just lazy. I feel like the thing turning into cherries has got to be like a calling card for a particular hacker. I just don't know whom. I don't think it's worth it to get that right now. Nuts. How many more screens can this be? Thought I'd get off the ground. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of long level tight timer. Like, I don't mind short level tight timer, just long level tight timer is kind of a drag because he's already spending 2 minutes an attempt. Like, that's a long time in Mario World. Especially when I keep messing up right at the start. Oh, do-do-do-do. Okay, so I'm gonna wonder what, like, is the actual most difficult level for most people for Baba Is You, and I wonder if there's been any, like, research done. Like, any surveys or anything, or I guess I could, like, look up some people's tier lists. That wouldn't really give me the information I want, I don't think, right? Because knowing whether or not someone likes a level is independent of whether or not they found it difficult, right? Like, some people love difficult things. Really? Oh, I thought I had that jump. Yeah, I think that's just a go spot. Kind of pointless now that I look at it. Okay. Jump. Win equals like, lose equals boo. Maybe. I still have never played any of, like, the level packs people have put out. Those could be fun. With unique and new and interesting verbs, and nouns, and adjectives. Adverbs, prepositions. Sky's the limit, linguistically. Particles. It's funny, Baba Is You is definitely a game that really cannot be well translated into other languages. Just because, like, it's all linguistically logical. And so any language that doesn't have that level of implication that is describable, it just doesn't really make sense in a translation scope. Like, I don't think there's a Japanese translation of Baba Is You. I think they have to play it in English. I think Chinese, I think there is a Chinese one. It just occurs to me how low my score is, given how long I've been in this level. I'm legitimately beginning to wonder just how much more there is to this level that I haven't seen yet. I think I hate that particular obstacle the most of any of them in this level. Anyway, just reminds me I should finish Toroban before I need to head out to the East Coast, though I'm still not entirely 100% certain that's happening. I don't know why I chose to do that. That was stupid. Kind of wonder if maybe this is a Hawaloota level. Probably only has menu translations? Oh, wow. I thought there were, like, some actual translations, but dang. You know, I guess it's kind of like, it's a very English game. Not like British English, but, like, requires the logic of English. I saw something similar, indie dev kind of thing. Japanese dev working on an idea. It was like Black Keys something. I forget the actual title. But you'd need to rewrite sentences by moving chunks of kanji and stuff. And clearly that's not going to fly in English. No! There's always some puzzles that will be culturally biased. For the Microsoft Puzzle Day, there was actually a complaint one year that too many of the puzzles were culturally biased towards what Americans understand. So, like, things like Disney princesses and the like. And, was it Dana? I think it was Dana. Ended up writing the culturally unbiased puzzle. It was like, everything hidden in this is an island somewhere. Good luck. Just a little bit of spite. Fun enough puzzle, but I would have, you know, preferred that specific style of puzzle to have been a more fun and interesting corpus than islands. But it wasn't culturally biased, so props there, I guess. Like, the only thing that makes me think this might be a Hawaloota level is literally that smiley face. No, why is that happening now? He does like a good smiley face. Need to stop doing that. What else? What else? What else? Chat window has you highly nostalgic for a time you barely remember. I know the feeling. Like, I definitely have similar feelings towards, like, some of the terminal aesthetics that you'd see in, like, Unisys and whatnot. And I certainly didn't experience that as a child. Or an adult. I mean, I kind of as an adult, because I use command line now everywhere, because I'm a nerd. But still, not quite the same thing. Like, looking at, like, what an SGI terminal looks like, or a Sun workstation looks like. That kind of nonsense. It's a Unix system. I know this. Had a little bit of that recently. I picked up a book called Exploding the Telephone. But it's about telephone system freaking. Basically exploring AT&T's phone network at the time. Because AT&T used to do in-band signaling. So you could send command messages over the phone line that you were using. And it would accept them and do stuff based upon them. And what I think is really funny is multiple times in the book, I should just go, I just could stand there. Calm to look at, don't know why. It was a better time in a lot of ways, UI-wise. For all of the people like saying that, you know, nostalgia is worthless, or no, things are way better now than they ever were before. In terms of UI, we've regressed so bizarrely. Like, one, at least in the early 2000s, like, UIs were fun. But before that, like the Windows 95 era, they were consistent. If you saw a chunk of a UI, you knew what it did. You used the standard buttons, you used the standard controls, and you had a certain level of consistency throughout the entire system because of this. Unless you were using like a Windows 3.1 application, in which case, you know, it had Windows 3.1 styling, but, you know, that happened. And so it was better in a lot of ways just because things actually worked and made sense and people followed the guidelines. And nowadays, everyone just kind of apes whatever Mac did a few years ago, which isn't a great way of going about it since Steve Jobs has been dead for a while. Like, he was the only one at Apple who had taste. More recent Apple designers are not very good at this, unfortunately. Yeah, I can just stand there. Okay. Either way, still a bummer. Why did I stand? Okay. Oh, that is the ending. Cool. Never moved from XP? Yeah. The plants not able to hit me every hours. I don't know what the deal with the plants are. I don't know, because otherwise the level is crafted very well. Like, the person who made this knows what they're doing. They're not Timmy. They made a level that is difficult, on a bit of a tight timer, and long, but they're not bad. Like, this is not a bad level by any account. It's a fairly well-designed level, just in a genre that isn't my favorite. One of those, no single one of these obstacles, barring this one, is particularly difficult. The issue is you need to perform all of them in a row. There we go. Yeah, the orb's on screen. Oh, wait, that was not the jump. My controller was not happy with whatever the hell that was. But, like, I'm also now aware I'm not on quite as tight of a timer, so there's that going for me. But anyway, the book, Exploiting the Telephone, been good so far. In a lot of ways, it reminds me a bit of The Cuckoo's Egg, which is a book about the first cybercrime in the United States. Really not the United States-based crime, since the person who did it was, I believe, an East German citizen. West German citizen? But a very interesting book, tracing all the way from the first inclination there was something wrong, which was missing like 60 cents of computer time, all the way to actually prosecuting the guy. Okay. If I stay calm... There we go. That level was hard. And that timer was short, comparatively. Whew. No credits, no nothing level. Bit disappointed, but... That's level 0, or level 1, isn't it? First try, yeah, tell me about it. Now, it was just getting past that saw. Actually seeing the orb made a huge difference in terms of, like, morale, right? Like, knowing there's an end helps so much when you're playing a level of that length. But yeah, that's a whole 2 minutes it takes to beat that level. That's not short. Big contrast. It was a huge contrast last time, too. Where that level was, like, legitimately just nothing. It was literally a nothing level. But anyway, thank you for the GGs. That was a good level. It was well designed and just difficult. I don't think that's a big problem, but just, it was hard. Let's write some notes and think about it.